The day started like a normal morning in Seoul. The spring air brings the scent of cherry blossoms blooming in the corners of the city, and a thin mist still hangs over the tops of tall buildings. However, there was something unusual hanging in the air, an inexplicable premonition, as if the K-pop world was holding its breath. Not because of a big comeback, not because of a celebrity scandal, but because of one name that resonated in the hearts of millions of fans around the world: Kim Taehyung, or better known by his stage name, V of BTS. No one can deny that V is a phenomenal figure. His deep and characteristic voice, the mysterious aura that envelopes his every move, and the natural charisma that does not even need to be sought, all make V not just an idol, but a symbol of dreams, struggle, and beauty that cannot be faked. But today, something doesn't feel right. Today, millions of armies around the world are turning in one direction, united in the same unrest. Because they felt, and perhaps for the first time very clearly, that V was being not treated as it should be. Not by the industry, and more painfully perhaps also by its own agency, HYBE. Issues have been circulating for a long time, rumors that were initially ignored as baseless gossip. But slowly, more and more facts are gaping, stringing together a huge puzzle that can no longer be ignored. ARMY, with their protective instincts, began to ask a difficult question. Why didn't V's solo album, Layover, get decent promotional support? Why aren't the shows shown on the official channels the way they should be? Why does the solo step of a V-class artist actually feel like walking alone on a quiet street, as if his own agency is reluctant to turn on the lights on the path he is traveling? When Layover was released, the world briefly fell silent in amazement. It's not just a solo album. This is a work of art. Every song on the album carries a whole narrative, full of feelings, and never feels made up. V presents something unusual. He does not try to be anyone but himself. There is no attempt to imitate the popular vote. There is no attempt to please market trends. There is only honesty. And that's what hurts the most. Such honesty, which should have been given space, is simply allowed to sink. However, the magic of Layover can be seen precisely in how the album still shines, even without a lamp from its agency. The album set records, won the hearts of the public, and proved one important thing. Kim Taehyung is a great force, even when he is left to fight alone. The question is no longer, why isn't V being promoted properly? The question is, are HYBE really aware of what they have in V? Or, more frighteningly, are they trying to cover it up for hidden reasons they don't want to admit? Because today, the ARMY has spoken out. It's not just fandom. They are witnesses of history. They are protectors. And today, they say with one voice, V is not an ordinary artist. He's a gold investment that they can't, and won't, let go. Well, here's the continuation of the second part of the narrative article today. HYBE must know. BTS is a gold investment that cannot be lost. What happens with layovers is not just a matter of promotion management. It's about attitude, about awards, about how a work, as beautiful and profound as it is, can be allowed to slide into the market with an almost exile-like treatment. The ARMY saw it. The world saw it. And they do not stand still. When Layover was released in September 2023, expectations were so high. Not because of excessive hype, but because the V name itself has become a guarantee of quality. His music is known to be unique, full of soul and jazz that is rarely touched in the realm of mainstream K-pop. It's not just an album, it's a living narrative, a story of love, wounds, and hope wrapped in the grace of a true artist. However, behind all that beauty, there was a suspicious silence from HYBE. There is no massive media support. There is no intensive promotion as is usually given to other artists. In fact, V's appearances on several television programs were not reshared by the official Big Hit Music or HYBE channels as usual. Some ARMY waited hoping it was just a technical delay. But time went on, and the silence became too quiet to ignore. This is no coincidence. This is a pattern. The pattern became even more apparent when ARMY compared it to the treatment of BTS's other solo artists. Each member has their own unique style and voice, and each gets the welcome they deserve. But only V is seen walking alone in a long, dark corridor, with the light coming from himself, not from the institutions that are supposed to support him. And this was the beginning of massive unrest among fans. Why is V such a marginalized? It's a question that keeps coming up. Questions that turn into statements. Then it became a disappointment. Until finally, it became a collective outrage that gave birth to a massive online campaign. Hashtags such as Protect Taehyung, HYBE Stop Ignoring V, and V Deserves Better are trending globally. Fans pooled data, recorded evidence after evidence of promotional inequality, wrote open letters, and even made an analysis video showing how V seemed to systematically not get equal support. What was initially just discomfort slowly turned into an alleged boycott. He kept smiling. It remains polite. He still loves the stage, loves the army, and loves his music. But that's exactly what broke the hearts of his fans. Because they know, behind that calm smile, there is a silent struggle. There is an invisible sadness. There is the fortitude of an artist who has to stand up for himself in an industry that is often harsh and unfair. V has always been known as a member of BTS who is artistic, contemplative, and has a strong artist soul. He is not a typical idol who shines because of sheer popularity. He shines for his authenticity, because he dares to be himself in a world that constantly demands uniformity. And now, the world wonders, is courage being punished? All of this leads us to a bigger and more disturbing question. What exactly is going on behind the scenes of HYBE? Is AVB considered too different for their business strategy? Is he too independent, too artistic, or even too big to control? Or is this just part of a broader power play, where someone like V is perceived as a threat to the collective narrative the agency seeks to shape? Because if we're honest, and the army has always been honest in their love, V is a treasure. A rare artist who not only entertains, but also inspires. It brings a color that cannot be found anywhere else. His voice brings nostalgia. His eyes tell the story. Its mere existence is already a reason for a person to wake up every morning and believe that beauty still exists in this world. That is why this abandonment feels like a betrayal, not just to V, but to everyone who loved him, against all those who believe that honesty and sincerity will always prevail. And when an agency as big as HYBE chooses silence, when the world asks why one of its biggest stars is being sabotaged from within, silence is the most painful answer. Here is the continuation of the third part of the long narrative article. Today, HYBE must know. BTS is a gold investment that cannot be lost. Amid a frenzy of questions, speculation, and incisive analysis from various quarters, one thing remains unshakable: Army's love and support for V. When the system seems to be nonpartisan, when the institution that should be home creates cold walls, the Army comes and builds bridges. They're not just a fandom, they're a loving community that knows how to protect someone they consider family. The fans of different countries began to unite. From Korea to Brazil, from France to Indonesia, all feel the same: the need to have a voice. They no longer just want to enjoy the idol's work, but also want to stand by his side. They made a tribute video for Layover, featuring honest reviews from musicians and independent critics who were impressed by the album's artistic quality. They arranged a streaming party, not to raise the numbers alone, but to show that V's work could not be ignored. One of the most emotional moments occurred when a fan from the Philippines, with an account called At Soul for V, wrote a long thread titled, "We See You." Taehyung,